give them to you as they keep coming in. Zach, so far in LeBlanc, bans are going quite slow here as the teams are just letting them roll in.
Yep, and slow banning as well between the two. Looks like there was a no ban on Counterlogic Gaming as well for their second ban here. Interesting. Unsure what's going to happen next because Cloud9 seem to not be banning anything themselves just yet.
Talking with Reaper.
Yeah, what are we doing? And it seems like, yeah, Cloud9 also missing a ban there. So we'll probably have a remade champion select here. I do feel like we are having a little bit of a technical difficulty in the studio as well, as pick and ban is not up on the screen.
Kind of just letting this one fizzle out. So we'll see. Players will have a chance to talk. CLG probably ready to go into this game and say, we have momentum, ready to take down Cloud9. We have that strat, and they still do. They haven't showed too much. And the players are obviously coming with picks and bans the same to start.
Yeah, and you're talking about momentum. For Counterlogic Gaming, the momentum kind of, you know, the wind out of their sails came out of their sails, right? Yep. They had first place. They lost to Immortals 0-2, and then they ended up having a 3-game series against Envy, and they didn't look very clean at all. Right? And they've been struggling with consistency. So they have to find momentum here, whereas Cloud9 actually has a lot of momentum coming into this. Cloud9 just took down TSM yesterday, and they're making a surge through the standings. They are on a
pretty good time as well.
Exactly. They are on a 4-match win streak. They win this, they are on a 5-match win streak, having beaten Dignitas, TSM, and Counterlogic Gaming in 3 matches in a row, and then they're off to Rift Rivals.
Yeah, save jet lag. Things are looking good, right? You should be able to go into the tournament pretty strong. Also having the fact that you can swap out Ray and Impact on the top lane. Having that going international is very nice as well. Being able to say, hey, we actually don't like this matchup we have. They've been watching what's happening from EU. It's not like you have to do too much homework here, so you can really formulate some pretty good strategies around being able to swap those two or anything else in picks and bans.
Yeah, speaking of picks and bans, they are being remade right now. They will keep the same first bans, which were LeBlanc and Zach, as those come up on the screen. We'll see them in just a moment. Looks like Kennen is the next ban from Counterlogic Gaming. So they have banned LeBlanc and Kennen. And then Caitlyn comes through from Cloud9, even though Sneaky got his hands on it. I feel like red side bans have now become Caitlyn, Zach, Galio very consistently, and blue side bans LeBlanc. Kennen is something that kind of goes back and forth, but right now we're just seeing kind of power bans across the board with 5 to 6 first pickable champions just being taken away.
One last one for Cloud9 before we do get into picks. LeBlanc, Kennen, Elise from Counterlogic Gaming. Galio, Caitlyn, Zach on the side of Cloud9. We started off, and it is an insta-lock Gragas for Counterlogic Gaming.
And this is a flex pick for Counterlogic Gaming. They can play it in the top lane for Darshan, or Dardoch will play it in the jungle. I know Dardoch had a tweet a few weeks ago where he was like, wake up, sheeple. It's the Gragas Rek'Sai meta again, and he's ready for it.
But does he like the Rek'Sai?
Well, I know that he likes the Rek'Sai, and I personally really like Rek'Sai right now. I feel like when she hits mid-game, she isn't as useful as other junglers in the late game too, but her early game is pretty much unparalleled. Her gank routes, her sense of vision where nobody else can really understand where she is and she can tremor sense them away, and I really like that. And also people have kind of caught on to this E-Max first on Rek'Sai. It's not locked in yet, and I won't talk about it too much more, but Jhin ends up being the pickup here, so Sneaky will get his pocket pick.
Yep, Jhin it to win it. So they're going to feel good in the bot lane on the side of C9. 5 seconds left to decide what they want. And they actually take Impact's Rumble on the top side. So Impact going to be bringing lane pressure and objective pressure.
Yeah,
coming in from that Rumble.
Ray played it yesterday, and it was a champion that he did fantastically on. Very high damage in the game. Yep. Didn't bring Deathfire Touch, was a little bit of a mistake, but he still crushed it. So Impact will see what he does on this Rumble in the top lane. And this is kind of a throwback classic, where the Jhin ulti plus the Rumble ulti, you're throwing down slows so that the Rumble can get an ultimate on multiple people, and the Rumble ulti will slow people so that you're more likely to land your Jhin bullets. So they both help each other, and it's very good. If you can throw in something like a Cassiopeia in this composition for Cloud9, then it ends up being very powerful. But I think Orianna is top tier for them.
Yeah, a lot of chase down with that. But I do agree. The safety and the utility of Orianna is huge. Looks like Counterlogic Gaming goes for the Tristana. The ability to control the turrets and objectives themselves here.
Yeah,
a bit of destruction comp.
Yeah, Demolitionist here. The Tristana comes through for Stixxay, so he'll play that up against Sneaky, who played the reverse matchup of this yesterday. We'll see if they pair it with something like a Braum, because Braum Tristana is incredibly powerful for getting resets and stunning people. And as the game progresses, you get this late game hyper carry Tristana that has so much attack speed. You can stun people from a long range. The Energizer build with Rapid Fire Cannon gets her 800 range plus auto attacks. So she ends up being that gigantic late game threat that can just jump around. And Stixxay, we talked about how he wants to be that best AD carry in North America. This is a champion that gives him the ability to carry the game.
You have to get to that point, though. It takes a little bit of time. CLG has a composition to make that happen. Small skirmishes around the map give Stixxay a chance to farm up, but does Cloud9. The Thresh pick synergizes with more picks. They say Contracts is fine to put to the wayside here for a jungler. And they start banning Lucian and Tahm Kench, first phase, or second phase, I should say. So still looking for Cloud9 to have this will run you down, will continue the team fight composition. Counterlogic Gaming will look to work around them for now.
So the Tahm Kench ban from Cloud9 in the second phase, followed by a Braum, So those are two champions that I was thinking would come out to protect the hyper carry. Like you were talking about with the special, the Tahm, Braum, Mom.
Yeah.
The two champions that really keep people safe. And I think that these are the top three, right? Tahm Kench, Thresh, Braum, because they all keep their AD carry safe while having playmaking potential, instead of being like a lane shover. So these are the top three supports right now globally in terms of pick rate. And I like that Cloud9 picked the Thresh as their third pick and then banned the other two.
Lucian targeted at Sneaky, so he gets the Orianna. We saw both of those yesterday.
I actually think it's targeted towards Jensen because they already have the Jhin. So they're double banning
Oh,
Jensen.
sorry, you're right. Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, they're banning Lucian and Syndra away from Jensen, but he's just going to pick Orianna.
Right. You're like, Sneaky didn't play Orianna and Lucian yesterday. That's incorrect.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Jensen played that yesterday.
The Orianna does get locked in for Jensen. The Aurelion Sol, though, up, ready to go from Counterlogic Gaming.
But you can't leave it up, Zyrene.
I mean,
but you can't leave it up.
You can't leave it up, but he's hovering it right now. 3 seconds to go. And they're going to pivot.
I mean, they're picking at some point. I love this part.
And there they go.
This is like the time waster. We're like, yeah, we're going to grab it, but we have 25 seconds equals 50 seconds. And then we have all this time to discuss what we want to do with the composition. Why not use that time?
Yeah, and so Aurelion Sol does get locked in for Huhi here. It went unbanned in the first phase and second phase. This is the most banned champion against Counterlogic Gaming. It's 77% banned against them, which means it's only been up in 5 games. He's played it in 2 of those 5 games that it has been left up, and his KDA so far this split is 30 on Aurelion Sol. Whew. Yeah, right there, you see at the bottom of the screen, 30 KDA for him. It's ridiculous.
And that the CS kind of...
I like how he's the average, too. He's the only person playing.
I am an average, but it's the best one. And the CS, too, he clears those waves, roams, clears the waves, roams. Hardly ever really focusing on those CS numbers. You can see him down a little bit. Last pickup going to be Lee Sin here. Contracts actually goes all the way to the bottom with his pick, but still gets that Lee Sin to be aggressive towards the early portion of the game. We're locked in on both sides. A 6-2 Counterlogic Gaming versus a 6-3 Cloud9 on quite a win streak for themselves.
Yeah, so Counterlogic Gaming, Kled, Gragas, Aurelion Sol, Tristana with Morgana. Morgana with Tristana gives you so much pick potential. Then also, it's hard to lock down the Tristana, right? You put the black shield on her and she can leap and go crazy in the team fights. And I love this champion for Afromu. Whenever I watch him play something like the Morgana, where your key team fight ability is that Dark Binding, you really notice how long of a cooldown it is. And when he throws it, it's the opportune time. It's harder to dodge. And you need to make the most out of that ability. So skill shot accuracy will be key for Afromu, but he has been no slouch in that department.
Right. And looking at the other side, you kind of talk about what safety he can provide. Stixxay picks this into a relatively safe CC composition from Cloud9. A lot of soft CC, conditional hard CC. Unless Smoothie's crushing these Thresh hooks, you're looking for that deadly flourish to really lock that fight down.
Yeah, and Contracts plays the Lee Sin here, so you have to be very fast as Afromu with the Black Shield for the kickback. So I'm really interested to see what happens, because Counterlogic Gaming's composition, to sum it up as a whole, all about picking, roaming, and out-pressuring the map, whereas C9, this is about team fighting and also getting some picks.
All right, CLG versus C9, we are on to the Rift, and we'll see how we start things off. Doran's Blades around, and the shield for impact. Stay healthy on the top side.
Cloud9 so far on a 4-match winning streak after taking down TSM, Dignitas. Now they're looking for that 5 in a row.
Yeah, 2 of those top teams of the league.
Trying to take down another top team here in Counterlogic Gaming. So if Cloud9 are able to do it, then they would be heading off to Rift Rivals as probably the strongest team from North America, having taken down the other team that's going in TSM as well, before Phoenix won.
Feeling very, very good.
So let's talk a little bit about some of these matchups here, because the top lane, the Rumble versus Kled. Kled is actually quite good into Rumble. They picked it after they had seen it. The reason that Kled is quite good is because Rumble struggles with champions that can close the distance on him, like historically one of the best counters. Hold on. Dardoch went all the way around, and there's the Dark Binding.
No.
And he's going to struggle even more.
Holds everything. He's like, I'm probably going to go down anyways. Could have forced some flashes, but that's the Ignite from Afromu. And Impact is down. That's a full team except for Stixay.
So Dardoch took Body Slam level 1, Body Slammed over the Baron pit wall, and went all the way around, avoiding where Lee Sin was, and then he waited for that Body Slam cooldown and came right around again. It's a 15-second cooldown, so that was a play where they said Impact's going to be up here in this bush, and he doesn't blow his flash to try and get away, but it was perfect pick off there, and a great level 1. He's going to the bottom side here. Dardoch is down here. It's going to be a Smite War. Oh, Dardoch got it. Hit level 2.
Gonna get the hit. That's the slow. Contracts has almost a full bump on him, and that's not gonna connect.
Oh.
A lot of flashes blown for this one.
Dardoch has Body Slam
hurting.
flash. Is he gonna keep going?
He flying down.
Body Slam flash up.
I don't know if they have enough follow-up damage here. Afromu with a few seconds. Oh, the right step from Sneaky.
Wait,
the bomb's gonna blow. It's not gonna. That won't be enough. The extra tap damage there from each member, ensuring Stixay would be able to pick up that kill.
And the last time, years ago, when we talked about Counterlogic Gaming level 1s, because they were so clever, this is a little bit of a harken back to that. That was a clever level 1 with the top lane invade at the time that they went for, and they got the pick. And I love watching CLG play pick compositions. And even from minute 1, the bloodiest team in the NALCS is living up to their name already.
Absolute chaos seems to be what they thrive in the beginning here. Impact comes back to lane, almost going down under turret, but Darshan realizes the lane's better than being dismounted off a Scarl here, so he can just continue to bear trap on a rope. Almost connects that one. But Stixay now gets a little stronger. That curve for Tristana, a little bit sooner. And the rest of the team is going to be very well off here in the early game.
And Dardoch's going to be like a kid in a candy store here. There's no flash on Contracts, no flash on Sneaky or Smoothie. These are easy lanes to gank. And Darshan actually going to run into Contracts here, who's level 2.
This could get pretty scary,
Darshan?
actually. Impact says we can continue the fight. They don't actually know what's on the other side, and they are right to be scared. Flash blown. Dardoch is down here. Don't know if they're going to take that back. It's really just for the vision.
Yep. Darshan going to back, has that kill, and has gold to spend, so he can actually stack up some extra items here.
What a hyper-aggressive early game.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Counterlogic Gaming are the #1 team in kills per minute in games, so they're the bloodiest team, but they're second most in deaths at the moment. So it's backfired a decent amount. We'll see if that aggression actually, backfires. And Stixay talked about finding some consistency for the team. This is a great start for the game. And we'll see if they're able to actually close it out and continue to snowball, because it's been such an early lead.
Those assists around the board, who he's already able to back. Got a pink ward that he just laid down deep on red. Also got the seal. He's got the potion of corruption. So really getting a lot of benefit out of everything in the early game for him. That push game can happen so much easier now. Has his vision, has his potions, and Dardoch, like you said, kid in a candy store, to choose where to go. No problem just going toe-to-toe with Jensen here, back and forth, pushing him into lane with those minions being on his side.
And you're talking about pushing into the lane. Every lane for Counterlogic Gaming right now is kind of a quote-unquote winning lane, where you have a counter matchup bottom with Morgana into Thresh, counter matchup top where Impact can't shove as much as he would like, especially since his early death. And then the mid lane, this is one where Aurelion Sol just pushes out. So Dardoch actually has 3 winning lanes right now, and he can do whatever he wants. He can go into the enemy jungle, he can invade, and he will always have control because his lanes have priority. This is one of the easiest games to play as a jungler, to be completely frank. When your lanes are winning, you know how we say never play to your losing lane? You can literally play to any lane right now, and you won't be wrong.
Even to the Rumble lane, that can make a 2v1 situation look really bad in favor of the Rumble. Not happening right now. Darshan being able to keep down. Impact.
Well, Impact hasn't backed yet, so he's actually low on items.
Yeah. The CS is there. The HP is kind of dwindling. The Ward may see contracts soon, so Darshan may actually choose to go hard, knowing Impact's flash is down once he sees him on that vision ward. Aphromoo,
Here comes Dardoch.
disjointed back between Stixay and Aphromoo, could cost him his life. Summoner heal. Oh, just a little too late. He may have said, I'm okay. Wait, no, I'm not.
Yeah, the black shield gave him a little bit of a deceptive health bar there.
That's a good point.
And then the heal came out a little too late. Yeah, Stixay didn't use it in time.
Unfortunate, but fortunate for C9, pulling something
But
back.
he knows there's that flash, and they're going to try to gank with Huhi.
There's that flash. Darshan counting it down. The rest of the team getting the roam towards the top side, and the voice of Huhi being the bringer of that death. 1-0-1 for himself as he gets the roam on. Immediate 6.
Man, and I'm waiting for the day when somebody just discovers how to play against Huhi's Aurelion Soul, because it's getting to the point where you only learn how to play against it by playing against it specifically. And it's
You bring this many people to the game.
gank him with everyone.
Here we go. We'll see this play for Aphromoo again. A disjointed back, but they try to also bait in fear here for Dardoch.
Yeah, Aphromoo. Black Shield may have been on cooldown there, and yeah, he was trying to hold the wave because Stixay went for a back and a late heal on that. But Darshan knew that the TP had been used, and then he knew that the flash was down from before, and he had flash advantage. So flash in.
EP too. Wow.
Yep. Flash in, goes straight up, and he's able to pick him off there. So yep. Picks up Impact, who has not been playing well so far. Even the game that he played against TSM, that first game, then he got subbed out for Ray. We got it back.
Hey. Just getting the in-depth roster look. Really seeing how everybody's feeling at this point in the game. We're only 7.5 minutes in, and everybody's pretty scratched up at this point. No turrets have really found any of that damage, as the waves really haven't been tended to quite often. It's really the kills, the fights in the jungle, and a lot of warding here coming from CLG. 3 wards already deep on the side of C9. Very helpful for Dardoch's buy and his jungling. Those trackers.
And so far, that 1,000 gold lead is held true for Counterlogic Gaming. Gave a little bit back in the bottom lane, but it did go over to the Thresh, so it's kind of the best that you could hope for in Counterlogic Gaming shoes. But mid lane, Jensen's winning in CS, but Huhi, I don't think he really ever wins in CS on this Aurelion Soul. It's mostly to his roaming potential and how he's affecting the side lanes. And he has good side lanes to play to.
That's true, right? It was at a certain point down about 9 CS. I feel like that average is going to come out again for this game. You'll get those rotations from Huhi. Dardoch as well. This may not stop underneath the turret. Impact knows it's going to be coming far. Huhi over the walls. And Impact's looking at the stars on this one. Under the table from Dardoch there with the explosive cast.
Impact has just been struggling right now. He got to play Renekton yesterday, and it looked a little bit better, but right now it's just bad start for him.
Yep.
Has been ganked constantly, and Huhi's Aurelion Soul just shows no mercy.
Contracts trying to do something. Jensen has the push mid. Contract says, this is my time to roam around a little bit. Push Huhi off mid. Get a possible shockwave play onto that mid turret. 4-1 here. Doesn't look like they're going to pick up this kill in bot lane. Smoothie's really playing the brush. It looks like he wants to get this ignite and a play down. And they may start to draw Contract's attention.
Oh, didn't quite land it there either.
Any moment they can go aggressive. That was a moment Smoothie left the lane for a second. A possible Contract's lantern down as he was muddling about. That top side. One last auto. Who almost gets taken down. That's a lot of him. Oh, the flash. Woo! What a kick coming in. That wasn't a flash, sorry, just a body slam kick. It looked like the flash. Kill down onto Sneaky. Aphromoo very, very low here. Trying to walk it out, put Sneaky between them. Not going to be a finalizing kill. And what a play back and forth across the map.
Yeah, Stixay coming up big there. And yeah, he had just chunked out Sneaky slowly but surely. Still had summoner spells available there to my knowledge. And then it was just a little bit too much damage that he wasn't expecting.
Smoothie forced to run away.
That was a good window too, because Smoothie didn't have Lantern for 3 more seconds, so they played that very well to actually exploit the positioning that Sneaky was in.
gets blue. A lot of things happening in favor of just CLG coming back off what they're doing, and they get to go right back to doing something.
Yeah.
There's no waiting.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you brought that up because there isn't really any moment where CLG are sitting on their hands. With this advantage, they have to learn to push it, and that's exactly what they're trying here. Darshan doesn't have ultimate, but he's just trying to zone as much as possible, proxy the wave a bit, and he has Dardoch there, so he knows that he can go aggressive. Contracts. Whoa!
Okay.
That was like under the skirt there.
That'll happen. Good dodge after being in position. Sometimes not moving is the best dodge. That top lane now is going to be met with Dardoch and Darshan, so they know the presence of Dardoch is top side. Contracts is bottom. Do they try to do something? It looks like it's just going to go to Dragon. And after that hits, they may not have enough time for bot, but still trying to get something back for what they're losing.
Yeah, first turret, top lane will go over to Counter Logic Gaming here. So they split the gold, and they bounce the wave appropriately. So this will actually starve Impact of some farm, because it's going to push back towards CLG. And now what does CLG do with this? Because Cloud9 get the Drake in return, but no, it looks like he's just going to fast clear it.
3K gold lead, 11.5 minutes in.
Yeah. Fast push top lane will actually happen instead of the freeze. So when you freeze when you think that nothing's going to happen for a bit and you can pick up that wave in a minute, but if you're going to push, that's a signal of you want to make a play happen soon, and with Darshan having his ultimate, it feels like he might want to just push all the way up, hold to the top side, and then go for a play, maybe bottom, maybe look towards mid, but I don't think he's going back top after this back.
Yeah, you see Impact there just kind of sitting with the flame spinner on Darshan, and he didn't care too much. Ninja Tabi and that Seeker's Arm Guard is not helping Impact, especially clear these waves. It's going to take him even longer if he does need to teleport for the team. He'll be losing that experience. The scenario could get bad, but C9 is trying to write the good scenarios for themselves right now. The Shockwave and hit from Contracts and Jensen in the mid lane.
Yeah, Contracts plus Jensen and this Orianna. Jensen played this yesterday every time he could get his hands on it, and he did a fantastic job on it, getting a solo kill on Bjergsen. And you can see that Darshan was heading towards mid lane, and they were trying to set something up, so he was pushing a little, but Contracts there right in time to make sure that nothing happens. And he should go back top lane here. Unless they're trying to 3-man mid. Looks like they might 3-man mid, but
I mean, you feel comfortable once he's out, right? He's not screaming down the mid lane yet. You have a few more seconds to play scary, but it doesn't look like they actually tried to activate what they wanted either.
Yeah.
And it seems like Contracts and Jensen say, hey, you know what? It is kind of hard to kill Tuhi because he's never in lane. So the moments he is, if we have those gap closures, we go on immediately. See if they rinse and repeat there. Impact taking the back door out of this one. He should be safe. Maybe safe in the long run.
yeah.
Could find himself in quite a scuffle.
We'll see, because Huhi does have inside track, clears the wave, doesn't roam, because a little bit afraid. We'll see. Dardoch meets Contracts.
Ooh, a lot of 1v1s going on. Seems like this one fizzles out as well. Darshan will have the inside track, as you say, now towards the top. Impact stays mid. And it looks like both teams are going to try to plan something slow here, but there's too much vision. Contracts is going to be able to call out this roam up top side, or up river.
Well, they just,
mid,
they just saw everybody mid.
Take back one. It was Dardoch as the caboose, and Contracts identified it, put him back towards Smoothie. Team comes up with a very fast kill. That was all very slowly created by C9, waiting for CLG to step out of position with the vision they created.
Yeah, what C9 did is they put a bunch of control wards on the bottom side of mid so they could play to mid and bottom, because they don't have to play to top right now, because Impact won't be shoving out too far, because he has to pick up this tier 2 farm. So they're just going to ward up for Jensen on the side, make sure that he can push the advantage that he has here in CS, because he is very far up in CS right now up against Huhi. So try to leverage that advantage and try to get him unlocked. And with that mid turret down, that puts a lot of relief of the pressure from the Aurelion Soul, because his roam positions are a little different. They saw Impact and everybody else go through, and look at that. Afromu thought it would be Stixay that got kicked back as he rocket jumped, and it was actually Dardoch. So Black shielded the wrong person there.
Ooh. That last grenade almost taking down Afromu. Looked like he got too much used on that. That was Smoothie's ultimate and Ignite coming out of that play. As you can see, and Afro's flash. So easy rinse and repeat. This has kind of been mixing the backs that Stixay and Afro have had to do. Now Afro has to stay and protect, but that's a very dangerous thing to do. Luckily, C9 is going to give them a little breathing room as we watch mid here. Like you said, that CS very much so in favor of Jensen. You can see the top side game that he's playing with Dardoch, trying to maybe pull Jensen in and give him the chance to get that CS lead back.
Yeah, but it's a big CS lead right now. We hit 15 minutes and he's up over 30 CS. So that's pretty big. That's like, that means that Huhi, his roams had to have been worth at least 300 plus gold. So he did get some kills on it. If you look at the gold difference between the two, Jensen's up 900 right now because he got that mid turret.
So definitely up overall in this scenario, even with the kills. The map pressure still helping out C9. There's that one turret in favor of each team started to spread out where the AD carries are a little bit, but more so the supports roaming around with their junglers now. Stixxay with a clear bot, 167 to 148 in that lane. They kind of have different purposes. Sneaky won't be on the front line, but Stixxay is going to need that CS. He is going to need to start to charge up quicker here.
Yeah, and he's already got a very expensive item in the Infinity Edge, and he's working towards his first Zeal here.
Yeah.
The Infernal Drake, though, coming up in 50 seconds. You want this as both teams, so we would see a fight over this. And look at Stixxay going hard!
Jumps right in. A few last shots. Curtain call is out. That's flashing here from Sneaky to get into position for the team now to orchestrate the fight. Impact has not been able to move the entire time and goes down once he gets the chance. Deadly Flourish comes in. What a shockwave from Jensen, locking up Counterlogic Gaming, who he tries to answer. Hextech GLP across the team, and he slows the rest as he's looking for more. And now it's the fourth. Is the Quadra coming in? He throws the stars out, locked up, stunned up. Smoothie's gonna get hit, and they say, Darshan, this one's yours. No, who he takes it still.
That's a Quadra kill for him, unofficial, because it's just so much time between the two of them. But look at that. That turret's going to come up and go down for CLG, and they're going to have even more gold on him. He was just a moment ago 1-1 in 2. Look at that. That is ridiculous.
He's like, all right, guys, play to make up for that CS. Go.
Yeah. But look, I just think that's ridiculous. Just his KDA on that champion. 50 kills, 19 deaths, 74 assists.
And this is an all-in champion without an escape. You need to make that decision only at the correct time.
And it's a very unique champion. You have to play Aurelion Sol around his ranges. You have to play them around this very unique range that you only learn from playing Aurelion Sol. And that's why he takes so much time to actually master. And that's why Huhi has one of the best, if not the best in the world. You can see that shockwave looked like it was going to be the decider there. Dardoch flashes away, Darshan gets dismounted, but Huhi has arrived, and he cleans up everybody else there. And that's the ace that comes through, too, very early on. Counterlogic Gaming, we talk about them being a very bloody team. Early action, and Aurelion Sol makes that happen and can follow that up. So Counterlogic Gaming as a team also play around this pick from Huhi incredibly well. Oh, God, he's at that point, too, where he's got Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Like, this is the nightmare point against Aurelion Sol. I don't give a damn if you're up in CS. He's got the GLP to slow people from a range. He's got the Voice of Light to knock you back if you do get on him. Yep. And then he's got constant slows that make it so even if you do get to him, you're going to get pushed back, slowed, and he's going to try to keep you at this distance. And the thing that people forget about Aurelion Sol is that his E gives him extra movement speed the longer he's traveling in a single direction. So if he is running away from you or towards you, he's slowly getting more speed to catch up, plus Swifty Boots to be even faster, and he has Storm Raider's Surge. So it's super difficult to take down Huhi right now, who will continue building HP.
And at the speed this game has escalated, we have swapped already. Impact had a rough game, so Stixxay is now split pushing against him on the top side, with Huhi tentatively going up, helping him. That's going to be Rift Herald picked up, so now CLG has wherever they want to go on the board. And it looks like they may just try to take down mid and brute force it with the damage of Trist and that Rift Herald. It'll go down in seconds.
And you just saw that C9 all just pinged mid turret, because that turret, I believe, is a Rift Herald hit away. Actually, it's a little bit over a Rift Herald hit away, because it would take about 45% of the HP. You know, one of these days, I'm actually just going to do the math on the Rift Herald. We get a general idea of like 45–40% of the tower's HP.
I'm guessing Freak already did it somewhere.
There's an exact number, because it does a percent of its HP when you summon it.
It's a lot right now.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot.
That's the number. I checked my work.
Get your proofs.
Got proof check. 20 minutes here. The gold lead has shrunk a little bit, but the map control has grown immensely for CLG.
Yeah, and CLG now have multiple ways to 1-3-1. They're going to have Stixay in a side lane here with the rapid fire cannon, the static shiv and his explosive shot passive. He's able to actually just clear minion waves almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
So Stixay is also a bit of a split pusher who puts threat on the turrets, and yep, there it is, looking for mid. He's gonna walk out. Oh, gets hooked.
Before he charged up, nice. They take a bit of HP off.
Yeah.
A lot of HP off. So that would have been very close to actually dropping that turret. And it looks like they save it. Beautiful play by Smoothie and the rest of the team before Rift Herald is able to charge up. That's when you got to get him.
Yeah, poor Rift Herald. Well, when I found out
Her.
it was her, yeah?
I did say him.
Yeah. You know how I remember it's a her? Because I named her Shelly.
Aw.
Before it was Harold the Herald, right? And then when we found out that it was female, it's like, oh, it's Shelly.
Shelly.
Shelly's also a great name to yell when it's like she's charging into the turret. Shelly! No! Don't do it!
We got to play more games together. Smoothie's just walking on thin ice right now. Gets himself away from a Dark Binding, knowing that somebody was going to be there. His flash is down, so that would have probably meant immediate death for him, playing very carefully now. And C9 holds mid. That was actually CLG. They kind of had that plan and then more in line. You can see how stalled they are after this.
Yeah.
What would have happened.
Perfect. And I love that because it's 2K between these teams, 2.3K gold difference right now. And it's very even, to be completely frank. It's mostly just the difference of the Infernal Drake here. And you can see Jensen is caught up in terms of gold to where Huhi is. And Huhi hasn't spent a big chunk, but it's mostly that bottom lane. 1,000 gold down, also in that top lane, about 1,300 down. And so this gold disadvantage is those side lanes, but it's not the mid lane. And right now, CLG, the only lane that they haven't cracked is that mid lane where the majority of their gold is. So it's hard to crack where Jensen is. It's the highest level in the game, and he's doing a great job of wave clearing and stalling by himself, especially with the Banshee's Veil now, so he doesn't get caught by Dark Bindings.
Near 2,000 gold on C9 members. CLG with quite a bit of money burning a hole in their pocket as well as they prep the waves.
Against C9, either you get that mid turret with a Rift Herald, and that helps you push back Jensen, or you almost don't get that turret without an overexertion of pressure, because now they have to go after these side lanes, and that's kind of the ticket here, because this Orianna is just going to wave clear in pretty much 2 or 3 abilities, and you'll be good to go as soon as that W comes out. So
there it is.
Yeah, it becomes so difficult. Like, that's one of the things that I think teams are not doing enough of with Rift Herald is figuring out what player they're against, right? I feel like when you play against Equifox, Cloud9, or TSM, Rift Herald mid with a perfect setup or a setup of at least, you know, pushing people to the side lane or something like that, and then even having just one person come mid to drop it. Like if you do a 2-1-2 or something along those lines, and just have the person who has the Rift Herald drop it mid, C9 would not answer with equal numbers, and the Rift Herald would get a lot of damage on that turret.
Right.
So you could do that up against somebody like Jensen, Froggen, or Bjergsen to crack that mid turret and push them back, and push back that key player on the team. But now Jensen gets to still have control of his blue buff, still have control of mid lane, the central part of the map, and it's very difficult to deal with as Counter Logic Gaming.
Safety of the Banshee's Veil as well. If he does need to get in for that pivotal shockwave the team could be looking for. Or the help for contracts. He is mid and he is calling for assistance right now. They're actually getting a bit of pressure. Is there a Stixay close? Back to the side is Darshan on the flank. And contracts goes down. That's actually 40 seconds already on the clock.
Oh,
flash forward onto Jensen. That's a few hits. Voice of Light pushes him away. The star's going through. He says this galaxy's only big enough for one of us, but Jensen still stays alive. And they start to back out of the fight. Very low health bar for CLG. Darshan already dismounted, flashes away from the deadly flourish, and he continues to get himself to safety. Only a few members of CLG were able to spend that 1,000 gold in their pocket, and I think we see the hurt coming from C9 there.
Yeah, and now C9, because they chunked out everybody except for Stixay, they get to shove out mid lane, and they get a little bit of priority to clear out the Baron area. Hold on, though, TP behind. They're going to be in trouble. He can't reach the Lantern. He got knocked back too far.
Sneaky out, Dardoch gets baited in. They didn't have enough vision. That ward was just placed, and it still got denied. Darshan still going. They want to rinse and repeat the batting order, and they go back in to take down Jensen and Impact. somehow C9 overstay the welcome on their own side of the map.
Yeah, they went with the standard play of getting control. Hold on, he's gonna try. Oh, didn't get him.
Stixay gets himself out very quick with the jump charge there. The hit coming in, blows up Sneaky, and member after member of C9 fall. One after the other, and that's the worst way it could happen because you lose so much ground on the map.
Yeah, they get that tier 2, and that's why mid lane, once you push it in, that mid tier 1 to tier 2 distance, shortest distance between turrets in the game, so you're able to push one down and quickly get the other. And now they have control of that Baron area. Verhuhi kills the blast cone, and this looks like they might start it up. We'll see what happens. Darshan will remount eventually, but they need somebody else to tank it for him for a little bit.
You can't actually get that charge up. He took a few too many hits, still on the front side. He's going to be towards the back. Afro move trying to tank. This is very risky.
That's canceled.
I mean, they have the waves to clear here. They're not really buying time for C9 to clear their own waves. So C9 could actually do quite a bit now with where the waves are, possibly going top if Stixay doesn't stay long enough.
Yeah, you have this gigantic wave bottom.
Right.
Needs to be cleared out, and I think it's going to be Huhi who does it because he can quickly get to the top side of the map, and they don't have teleport on Darshan. But this here,
again.
Binding hits Sneaky, Stixay opens up, and then he gets blasted away from the Lantern, and then Dardoch body slammed in and then kept going, and he gets taken out there, and he still has the ultimate, I believe. So that was a key ability that they really wanted, but then, of course, they just hold on, still fighting.
It's never ending. Darshan's off Scarl, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. A great red carpet to close off the exit. And the curtain call a little to the left. Sneaky's gonna have to close that off immediately, but Cloud9 gained a bit of ground, and they have control over Baron to say what happens. Still risky with Dardoch.
If there's anything we learned from Cloud9 yesterday, is that they're never out of the game until it's over.
It's a good way to play it.
Back and forth. And they're 5,000 gold down. They get a pick, and I talked about at the start, pick compositions for both teams with some roaming power for CLG, and they're looking here. They still have Shockwave for Jensen. And they need to clear that top wave out before it gets too massive as well.
They said, will they pressure and how will they pressure? It was good enough. CLG is going to take the inside track to mid, and Cloud9 is going to have to back fast.
Yeah, but Sneaky's not going to be back in time because he's clearing the top wave. And so they're going to push down mid, get priority, force C9 to actually clear that. And we'll see what happens here because, like, against pick compositions, you do have to have a lot of cautious play. We'll see here.
Quite a bit of damage.
Afro trying to take out the ward so they can no longer see it. And then they'll back off as soon as they clear the ward.
Oh, Afro
he's going to take another hit too.
No.
Oh, and they're engaging.
They all have to be on board with this one. They have to follow. Dardoch's now taking a bit of damage. They spread out immediately to find a target, and neither of them, or any of them I should say, would have been able to collapse. They still scatter C9 enough. I guess that was the objective.
Drake.
And they start to head away.
Yeah, it looks like Drake will be on the table here, just taking out this Cloud Drake. If you kill it now, another one will spawn before the Elder does, and you're hoping that it's an Infernal while you still have control of the game. Right now, it's 1 out of 3 chance between which one you'll get.
Well, Aframu.
And it is an Infernal.
Got the Equalizer out to do quite a bit of damage. Actually tried to trigger the Baron onto Aframu as well, so impacts big objective ability. That ult down for the next fight.
Doesn't need it though, hold on.
Might get the payoff, almost lives. Soul Shackle went down with Aframu as well, so they won't have that. A lot of things being used, and that was Flash Ignite for the support of CLG.
Yeah, Aframu blew the flash there. Wasn't able to pick up Impact, who did end up getting the Zhonya's Hourglass. Had a rough start to the game, but he's a little bit back in it here. And Stixay, now at the point where he does have the Energizer build, has an incredibly long range. We'll see what happens.
Smoothie all the way back. Darshan gets kicked away, so Contracts doesn't have his way of initiation. When Aframu does come back up, his Soul Shackles didn't initiate, so he'll still have his ult. That is huge for the Baron attempt as well.
Yep. Stixay now running around with 800 range when his rapid fire cannon is up. Otherwise, he's 648 with his draw V to passive. An 80% crit already, so he does a lot of burst. The fact that the static shiv will crit for a lot of bonus magic damage on top of his auto attack means this Tristana has a lot of power behind it. We're going to see this champion more and more as the weeks go on, and people are utilizing this build, and Caitlyn gets banned out. Yeah, triggered this onto Aframu, forced the flash there, and so Impact said, all right, guess it's time. Aframu sees him coming, though. And Impact, using the ward that Aframu was on top of, doesn't respect it. And then he's able to get out, too. So far, it's just been a bloody game back and forth, and Cloud9 still have ways back into it. They have Jensen with 3 items now, doesn't have the Void Staff, doesn't need it just yet.
Yep. Yeah, really isn't looking at too much magic resistance across the map. Ninja Tabi's for boots, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Obviously,
Darshan for Impact.
Trying to defend that. You also have Hui all the way on the back, so...
Impact's going to try to buy time as they maybe start up the Baron here. He's just
good point.
Running them around the map. As soon as they see 2, they have to get something else for Impact's depth.
A pretty big mid-wave, too, if they can find a kill onto Stixxay or Afro move here. They get Impact, and C9 is kind of left wondering, what do we do? Do we start it? We need the vision first, so they had a few steps before they could actually start the Baron. They had to
get vision first, and they had to make it back to mid lane. Good zoning by Jensen there to make sure that they don't give the inside track over to CLG. And Impact's going to have damage on that bottom turret. So Impact, or sorry, Darshan now on that split push.
Few of these Sonic Waves for contracts missing that usually do not in situations you would be making plays for the team. See these kills possibly walk away as Counterlogic Gaming continues their pressure around the map without breathing room. It was CLG in the beginning firing on all cylinders. C9 was able to fire back very quick. It was all within the first 10 minutes. And then we waited, and then Counterlogic Gaming felt they had it, started to move things around, and once again took control of the game.
Yeah, and we're getting to that point where the Tristana is becoming pretty crazy, and Huhi's Aurelion Soul is going to be able to zone and make sure that nobody can really jump on him immediately. And Stixxay bought a QSS fourth item, to make sure that he's safe. Make sure that he, doesn't get hit by a hook or rooted by a Jin W.
Yep.
Or even kick back. You can QSS the kickback and flash away. So Stixxay is just going for some more safety here.
It also allows the Black Shield 4 focus onto Hui or somebody else that really needs it. Stixxay can handle himself, then he might be able to necessarily call for it.
And we talked about this
great synergy.
Talked about this being a test for Stixxay.
Yeah.
The guy is doing great this game so far, and up against Sneaky, who had a pretty good performance yesterday and is on his pocket pick Jin. This Tristana just seems to be something that is really putting a damper on Jin, just because Jin needs to walk up to get these burst plays out, and the Tristana can just pump damage into him the whole time because of that range.
Nice dodges. Afromu gets himself the safety.
They're buying time for Darshan on the bottom side of the map, and Huhi's actually on the top side here. Huhi knows they want to start Baron, so he's in a top rush, looking for the flank here. We'll see if he goes over the wall.
If he goes over the wall, they could leave, and that would leave him in Baron
They're pinched in, they have to fight.
Get the left side, huge damage, gets the stun up, airborne. Impact is very, very low. Contracts is going to go down between Alphamu and Stixxay. Stixxay's on the back for the escapes. He's ready to take down the stragglers, and he's going to hop over the wall. He says, "King me," over to Smoothie now, looking for the triple kill. Smoothie blows up, decimated from the map, and Darshan has his way with Jensen on the other side. The ace for CLG on the Cloud9 and Baron.
And Darshan's going to go to the bottom side for that inhibitor, finish what he started. Perfect allocation of resources by CLG.
Moving around the map still now in every lane with each lane push. Counterlogic Gaming has been putting the pieces in order, and they take the fight perfectly.
And we talk about lane assignments, perfect lane assignments here from them as well, where they're pushing down, using exactly what they need to get everything on the map. And this might be triple inhib during this respawn here from C9.
Playing their fight squad, these little skirmishes, these little hits with Dookie, very good after his quadra kill in the bot lane, and that's what they needed to do. You get something like that, and you need to continue its pressure.
The reason I love this is Huhi set this up by clearing top wave and sitting in that bush, and when he comes in from the side, Dardoch comes in from the front, and everybody else is on the right. That means that they are all just grouped up into the pit. The Voice of Light shoves them even further back so they can't follow where Contracts is, and now Jensen can't look for a good shockwave. Stixxay goes over the wall, finish off Impact, and then Jensen has to get out of there. But it was just so well played from just the assignments of where they were standing. Huhi with the flank really cut off all the options there.
Darshan flash ulting over Baron pick to get onto Jensen for that one. You heard the call for the cavalry just at the end of that play. And now Guardian Angel for Darshan, who's been a beautiful nuisance in the side lane. Not joining the team as much as he was in the past. We see that historical play where he Great push, comes to the team. It seems like CLG loses a little bit of pressure. He has been in the hair of Impact and the rest of C9 the whole time, playing off the team, and it's working so well.
Look at that, just the damage that was dealt from C9 in that fight. Jin couldn't really get a piece of anything at all because of the fact that he's outranged. He's shoved back into the pit. Can't operate with that 550 range, and even with the rapid fire cannon on, he's just trying to burst down the Baron. But look at that, they look for Stixay and he got out.
Besides the Shockwave, Contracts knows he was the only way in, and he goes down. The futile attempts. A little too late here for Cloud9. 22-9 as CLG continues to dig the grave for C9. Game 1, pretty convincingly in favor of CLG.
The level 1 was perfect from them. They picked up such an advantage from that. It did stall out a bit, but then they had the perfect allocation of resources when they went for those late game plays, and they forced C9's hand. They forced them to go for that Baron and make a very tough decision, and they punished them for it. And you can see CLG already off the stage where C9 still recollecting themselves.
Ooh, kind of recollecting as well. There was an afterburner turned down there. You're like, all right, a few turrets here. The Baron play escalated it, and we see teams usually kind of say, oh, we're still afraid of the Shockwave. We're still afraid of a Rumble ultimate that could completely clear anything out. But they were running past those, instantly killing everybody in the fight, but also spreading so that Shockwave wouldn't hit more than one person. The equalizer was never really cutting off more than one, or they could just jump over it and be in the fight. So great placement by CLG as well.
Yeah, and also like the fact that their champions made it to that mid-late game. Like when you have a level 1 that happens like that and so many flashes get burned, your Aurelion Sol, which is a great scaler, your Tristana, which is a great scaler, and then you have a split pusher in Darshan's Kled. The Kled now gets to just run all over the map. Darshan gets to split push his way to victory, which he has struggled with a little bit this split. And then Stixay's Tristana gets to just get through the laning phase. And like you said, the power trough, you never feel it. You're immediately towards those great item spikes, and he has a very early IE and able to take over the game alongside that A-Sol.
Feels good. We'll see that's what we make of it. We'll see what the analysts make of it. We'll throw it down to the analyst desk to break down that CLG victory.
Thank you very much, Rivington. CLG getting the better of C9 in this first game of the series, and this felt like a ton of prep coming out of CLG, and it all working perfectly for them. I think we talk a lot about play all of the time, and in some cases we forget the coaches and the prep and what goes on in Champions Select in terms of setting teams up for success. That's what we got this time around. So we're going to take a pretty in-depth look here at the Champions Select put together by CLG against C9 here, in particular at that second phase.
And it feels like CLG is one of the most innovative teams in the league generally, just in terms of how they pick their champions, what they do level 1. And in this one, for some reason, C9 takes Rumble really early on after just seeing a Gragas. And CLG is the team that is known to flex it. And this opens up the Kled pick because you can now get a great lane that you're able to gank over and over in the Rumble, which is just not a good matchup at all.
I also think that when you're looking at the second ban phase for CLG, they're essentially showing that they want to play Orianna, right? You're banning out 2 of Orianna's counters. That is saying, hey, you either pick this or we will. And then when Cloud9 takes it, they have another answer, which is the Aurelion Sol, and who he is able to not only get that, which is a reasonable matchup, but also working well with the Kled. You know, you talk about someone who has strong engage, you pair Kled with Gragas and Aurelion Sol as far as diving potential and the potential to run down a Rumble. That's a very difficult lane to survive for Impact.
And the great thing is, even if they didn't take the Orianna here on the side of C9, CLG's comp's still great with Orianna.
Exactly.
You have a kind of protected Tristana comp with a Kled who can engage and an Orianna to follow up with that. So
right, and then what does C9 pick if you are to take the Orianna?
Right, there's still options. There's Victor, there's Cassio, there's different things that do fine into Orianna, but don't bully it really.
Right.
On the flip side, the Aurelion Sol's gonna run around the map and try and snowball that Kled.
I just think it was super intelligent drafting from Zix, and you know, thinking through not only step 1 but kind of step 2, right? And it's like you said, they don't have to have Orianna go over to the opposing team for that to be a successful draft. They've covered their bases on both sides, and a lot of people will say, well, why didn't you ban out Aurelion Sol, right? And that is something that people always come back to, but you can't just always ban this champion or you're going to lose advantages elsewhere, because they go with Thresh, they go with Jhin, they're trying to have playmaking, they're trying to have kill potential, you know, with this sort of lane, and they're worried about, you know, dealing with Braum, who's very tough for Jhin ultimate to ever have effectiveness. He can also soak up the Thresh hooks. Tahm Kench eats you out of any of that CC, so it's like, these are tough champions to deal with, and it's easy to just always say, well, you should have been early.
Right, and who knows, maybe we'll see the Aurelion Sol hit the bans, you know, the ban table as C9 moves to blue side and gets maybe a few bans opened up for them. But I think the key takeaway here is it's incredibly intelligent drafting aided, or rather made possible, by the diversity in champion pool and depth of champion pool of the players on CLG, outside of just the Aurelion Sol. Look at that Morgana, right? Tom Kenj Braum banned out. 2 great bans against the Thresh. But hey, Afromoose still plays Morgana, happy to play that in the Thresh as well. And so we're seeing the opportunities for CLG broaden in terms of what they can set up strategically. And then, Mark, as you mentioned, we move into game, and at level 1, CLG, kind of known for their ingenious level 1 strategies and throwing curveballs at teams, picks up first blood, plus blowing a bunch of summoners here early in the game.
Yeah, Dardoch taking body slam level 1, able to hop that wall, scouts out a little bit for the top laner, trying to see if he can find him, goes for the full wraparound onto Impact. Almost positive he's in that brush because he hasn't had time to move down for the level 1. And then here, just cuts him off, body slam into the binding, and then you get this chain CC combo with Bear Trap on a rope as well. They get the first blood. They were probably actually hoping to get the flash because that sets up for easier ganks in the future, but you're pretty happy with that. C9 want to punish on the flip side, going for a red buff invade, but they did that play so early on into that level 1 that they actually have time to collapse down on this and get a bunch of advantages.
And the smite is so ridiculously important there. The fact that Gragas wins that means not only does he have the red buff regen, he gets level 2, Lee Sin cannot fight. Like, it just turns the level 1 into such a ridiculous disaster for Cloud9, because you're having your Lee Sin, this early game jungler, sent back to base at level 1 with no like potions left. Like, he's in such an awful position from there too.
Yeah, that's wasting multiple minutes of Contract's time, as well as picking up another kill for CLG, plus blowing the summoner spells for the bot lane of C9. We saw that 2-kill lead balloon to a 5-kill lead pretty early on for CLG, but they were sitting at a 1,200 gold lead there at like minute 3.
Yeah, and then CLG is a team that, especially with Aurelion Sol, know how to kind of exploit that as hard as they can. Bot lane losing all those summoners means that they're not going to be able to pressure that hard. He gets the advantage in his own lane, then brings it up to Kled, who's going to snowball off that Rumble. That's where the next couple kills go, and then after that, he's off to the races.
Right, we had an 0-3 Rumble in the top lane for Impact very early on into the game. The rest of the kills being found in the bot lane. At 16:30, there were 4 kills going over to Aurelion Sol, Huhi on the roam down, while all members of all teams make their visitation down here in this big brawl.
And we were watching this, and we thought this should actually turn out well for C9. They
yeah,
kind of get this
good.
teleport in, you got the Jhin opening up, but Impact doesn't have a great equalizer and then gets chain CC'd. His flash is available. Could have maybe lived a little bit longer here and done that consistent DPS that Rumble is known for. Once he goes down, there's not enough damage, and Huhi finally shows up, this fed Aurelion Sol. Even though Jensen has a good shockwave, it's a little too late.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it is Impact didn't even have a completed item at this point in the game. You know, he's much behind where he would normally be in a standard game because he had 3-4 deaths by this time, right? Because he has been put behind. So I think that CLG played well around their advantages. I think that they had very intelligent planning and preparation, and you know, even just a level 1 invade with Gragas, like, people are doing that body slam thing quite a bit now, but they're usually using it for Raptors, right? So CLG is putting their own adaptation on it, checking topside. This is generally, you catch people out that are going to Raptors early, and I just like that they're willing to try these level 1s. It always keeps your opponent guessing. It makes them give you the respect that you may be doing something cheesy, even if you're not.
It's absolute mind games. We have to remember, though, that even in that game, we saw on the gold graph there, a few dips in a couple places for CLG, some missed positions, maybe losing their focus a little bit in terms of closing it out. But each time there is that dip, you can see it levels out for a moment and then goes back up. They weren't falling into the trap of chaos and giving C9 back the game as, oh, we made a mistake. Let's recenter ourselves, let's refocus, and make a smart play next.
I think it's worth pointing out, though, just because CLG not being super clean in this game, and you wonder if maybe the draft was a little bit more even, if they didn't have these kind of extra strategies prepared, maybe C9 is in a much better spot to actually win this game, because there were a number of opportunities where it felt like C9, when they could get their bearing, did find good pickoffs.
And I mean, to be fair, Jensen, you know, going against Aurelion Sol in the actual lane matchup was very ahead in farm, right? So, you know, had that level 1 tragedy not occurred, you know, just off of the mid lane advantage that Jensen had accrued, you know, in the early stages, that may have been a way in for C9.
Well, Jensen may have won the lane, but Huhi won the game. He'll get player of the game for this time around. On that Aurelion Sol, of course, that big roam there, picking up the quadra kill, but as is usual with this pick, the zone control, his ability to control the fights and keep the damage dealers out of it and at bay from C9. Huhi, a stellar play here this time around.
We talk about the Aurelion Sol being his kind of signature champion, and why don't people ban it more? Well, you have to know when they're going to pick it. It doesn't feel like people quite have a read on when CLG is going to pick it. Maybe look at this draft. If you have a counter pick on the top side, and they're going to have their mid lane pick available, maybe you want to ban that one in the second ban phase.
Game 1 goes to CLG. We're headed for a quick break. When we return, it's going to be Game 2 between C9 and CLG. You're watching the North American LCS. See you soon.